Hello and welcome to Theme Park Workshop. This is episode 26. My name is Kelley and I am here with Adam Johnson
Hello, it is I.
and Bella Harvey.
Hello, besties.
And today we are going to be talking about some news. We'll be going over the good, the Bob, and the Fantasmic today.
Imagination.
In case no one heard the Bob-shaped elephant in the room, turns out Disney has a new CEO, which is their old CEO. So Bob is replacing Bob. Bob Chapek is out and Iger is back in.
The changing of the Bobs.
The changing of the Bob. Wow. That was news that I could not miss on Twitter. The day that it happened, like seconds after everyone was freaking out, there were memes, there was excitement. Listen, I know a lot of people are saying this. I don't think he's going to make any like huge changes right away as far as like reversing things that have been done, but I just like him more. So,
Yeah, because I couldn't tell you why I was like, oh my gosh. I was literally in the movie theater. I was alone in the movie theater and the movie was about to start. And then my phone starts blowing up in our group chat. I'm like, holy crap. Like, Bob Iger is back. I think I reacted more to the fact Bob Chapek is gone in the dead of night because it was like a 10 o'clock showing. And that obviously, that felt good. And like Bob Iger, that's a familiar name. So that also felt good. But I know some people are like, well, Bob Iger's also the reason why Disney was kind of getting into the way that it was getting with like owning everything and maybe not being the best for certain things. But he vamoosed before like it could get worse if you consider that a bad thing. But yet after the 3 years of Chapek, it just felt right. It felt good. And with 2 years and some of the challenges that are coming up, I'm not upset about the choice.
No, I'm not either. To be honest, I'm kind of terrified of Bob Chapek. He's kind of scary looking. I don't know. He's just like, he's kind of scary looking. Maybe it's the eyes, I think. I don't know. Medium apologies to Bob Chapek. But I don't know. I love Bob Iger. He just seems, I mean, obviously I've never met him. I don't know him personally, but he just seems happier and nicer. Granted, he's the CEO of a gigantic company. So I don't know. But I was also watching a movie. I was mid Disenchanted watch. And I'm like, let me just look on Twitter. It's kind of a slow part. And my feed saw it like a minute after it broke was just like everyone, not like direct links to articles, just everyone screaming Bob Iger. And I'm like, okay. Oh my gosh. Literally felt like there's this one GIF from Glee and it's really specific. And I'll tweet it when this episode comes out so you can see it. It's Sue Sylvester rising from the stage surrounded by confetti. That's exactly how it felt. And I think I said this in the group chat. I was like, I feel like I could run up a building. Like just like everyone being so happy about it is like obviously a good thing. And he I don't know. I think it's a really good thing. We'll see what happens with the next 2 years. So it's like a tentative good thing. Tentative, whatever. But I don't know. I'm excited. I think it's good. Welcome back, Bob Iger. I loved all the memes. Spider-Man, yes. Bob comes home. So smart.
I feel like it's one of those things that's like, I know people are still going to be mad at the Walt Disney Company as a company, but I don't think as many people are going to be directly mad at the CEO, where I think we've kind of been having just people were so mad at Chapek specifically, Bob Paycheck and all that. So I don't know. I think, and I'm so glad you said that about his face, because I feel like Bob Iger just has a friendlier face, and I felt bad for saying that. I was like, he's nicer to look at. I don't know. He seems like a nicer person. But I'm super excited about it. I'm tentatively excited, at least, because I want to see where this is going to go. but I do think it was a good decision that most people seemed happy, or at least tentatively happy about.
Yeah, and like Iger, he came in after Eisner, like the worst of Eisner. When you look at the company as a whole, like there's a lot of just like they were corners cut. You know, you had the direct to DVD line, which didn't really help the legacy of some of the Disney IP. Then, you know, you had some of the parks not really being up to par. I mean, if you watch the Imagineering story documentary, they're not Bella, Disneyland Paris, not being the greatest thing, and California Adventure starting out really rough, and, you know, things like that. And there was open hostility towards him within the company, if I remember right. I think Roy Disney's like, we need to get this cat out, kind of like what happened with Chapek. It's just they actually did it with Chapek, and Iger kind of came in, he healed relationships with Pixar and gained Marvel, gained Star Wars, Lucasfilm, all that. And he had some stumbles along the way, of course, and when he worked for ABC, he canceled my favorite show. So I mean, I have a little bit of resentment towards Bob Iger. Twin Peaks. So Bob Iger came in, he kind of helped the company find its legacy again, like to rebuild its legacy. If Eisner like helped redefine it as good years, and then, you know, rough stuff happened towards the end, I really feel like Iger was there to make Disney kind of an indestructible force by really buttressing it. And then he passed on to Chapek. I think Chapek's job was kind of like, okay, how do we keep this financially sound? And that's kind of what led to him being outed. And in addition to his various, you know, negative events, like publicly he was not liked, even when he was working for the parks, but like everyone knew about him with the whole Don't Say Gay bill controversy and the park reservations and Genie Plus, all of that. And then when it's the stock, when the Disney stock started dropping, I mean, that's kind of a good entry point to bring in Bob, Iger, who kind of helped the company out of a rut, helped them out of a rut again, because that rut's not just the financial one, because he's keeping the hiring freeze that Chapek reinstated, which was his last unpopular act. But some challenges that Iger's going to have moving forward isn't necessarily to repair the Disney charm, I guess, but also like the Reedy Creek stuff against Governor DeSantis is going to be going on in Iger's next 2 years. That's something to navigate. Someone asked him about point blank during the Disney employee like town hall. Someone asked him point blank, and he's like, I wasn't CEO when that happened. That wasn't my time. So I don't have like a game plan or anything, but that's something we're going to need to look into. How do we navigate those waters? Because DeSantis is governor again. He's still governor. And I mean, historically, he's shown that he's not necessarily like one to let down a battle he thinks he can win. Yeah. As frustrating as it is what I'm saying. And so that's going to be something that he's going to have to navigate, because that might be a hit for the company. I don't see how it's not a hit for the company. So he's going to navigate that. Disney Plus, he's going to try to re-navigate. Is park reservation going away? He hasn't used it, so he's going to talk to Josh D'Amaro. Let's see what D'Amaro says and all that. So from purely like a storyline, you know, scenario, if you're looking at the history of Disney, like obviously it's very exciting from that perspective. Whether it floats or not, I don't know how much that's going to affect us as consumers and as enjoyers of the art that Disney gives us in the films and in the parks, but it's certainly interesting to see as an outsider. And I mean, I think we all know someone who is a cast member or has some sort of connection with the mouse, so they're obviously going to be affected in some way. So we hope for the best. But yeah, I think we're just happier that it's not Chapek with his different controversies. And Bob Iger says the right things. I think that's also part of his likability that y'all are touching on. It's not that he has the Josh D'Amaro good looks. It's that he is he says the right things. He praises Imagineering even when he's not CEO. He praises the diversity of Disney storytelling. He's always talking about Coco and Black Panther. Those are the examples he always brings up. They're good examples. And Encanto, and like he praises the diversity of storytelling, and he says we're not going to back down from our values. He understands Disney values, and I think you can kind of point at some of his things being we're going to work towards those. Whereas Chapek was like, what's going to help our bottom line, which isn't necessarily a bad place to be as a CEO, but maybe it's not the best place to be for a Disney CEO. And so we'll see how it all shakes out in 2 years. Godspeed.
That's very well said. That was very good.
It was, yeah. And all of that about his likability is certainly true, because at the end of the day, people like Disney is such an important part of people's lives, and like, you know, in their hearts, and they cherish it. So when the CEO seems like a kinder person and promotes that diversity and things like that, like it just gives such a better public image versus just caring about money, which, like you said, is not a bad thing for a CEO to focus on. But, you know, as far as public image, like I think Iger does a much better job of that. I am definitely curious to see what happens with the park reservation system, because I miss being able to park hop whenever I want. One thing that I'm curious about is if they're keeping the virtual queues for things like Tron and the new rides in the beginning, which I have opinions on. I think that it would be good if they took them away so that it could kind of eat up some of the crowds in the park, especially like at Epcot during festivals, but that's just me. It's probably not just me, but that's one of my maybe controversial opinions. But I do think that if they're going to keep that, it'd be interesting to see, like, can anyone get it at 7 a.m.? And then, you know, like, let's say you get a Tron queue for 2 p.m., then you can start somewhere else and then park hop. I don't know, but that would be really cool. I just miss being able to park hop. Even like when I was in California, you could park hop at 1, and that was even so much better than the 2 o'clock. Like, I know why they do it, but I miss it.
It's not like I don't know, like at the beginning the reservations were really good because you could tell a difference with the capacity levels, but now like in 2022, like they're not capping capacity. Like it's not what it used to be at all. Like I used to be able to stand in front of the castle with no one behind me at peak times during the day, and now like the entirety of like the park hours, like you can barely even walk anywhere because it's so busy. So obviously, like I don't think the reservations are really helping with capacity at all. And I really miss park hopping just like as normal. And it kind of ties into the lawsuit that was going on, because like, yeah, like as a pass holder you should be able to go whenever you want, minus like your blackout days. So it does kind of impose on that. So I'm interested to see what Iger has to say about that lawsuit, if he ever speaks about it, and I hope he does. And then with the virtual queues, like you were saying, I understand why they're in place, because like especially like with newer rides, like they kind of want to keep it at like a lower capacity, just because like I mean we all saw with Rise of the Resistance how much it broke like all the time. So like I get it, and to like keep things running smoothly, but also like I understand the disappointment with not getting one, especially the first couple months, because like you're really excited for this new ride, and like some people might not know about virtual queues, and then they go, like if people are coming from like out of state, out of country, like they may not know, and they go and then they can't ride it or pay $20 to ride it now that Genie Plus is having a capped price each day. Like I think I saw like $28 or something the other day, which is stupid. That's another rant for later, but I don't know, I'm interested to see what he does with that, because I don't mind them, but I also kind of despise them at the same time. Because sometimes I really want to ride Guardians, but I don't want to get up at 7, and I don't want to like try and get it in the park because the Wi-Fi does not work at all in the park.
Yeah, it's terrible. Well, I went on Sunday to the parks, and my friend and I, we both thought the other person was getting a virtual queue. So at like 7:05, we both basically texted each other like, did you get one? And we were both like, no. And I don't know if you guys have ever tried to finesse that. You cannot. They are very strictly not allowed to give you one if you did not get one. You know, sometimes if you miss yours or something like that, especially if you have DAS or some kind of accommodations, they can make it work. For those who didn't know, if you have DAS, as long as you go after your return time, as you know, you can go until the end of the day, which is great. And I appreciate that they do that for guests that need the accommodations. But if you do not get a boarding group at 7 a.m., they're going to tell you to wait till 1. And if you don't get it at 1, I don't know what their terminology is that they use, but you are not getting in. So luckily we were able to get it at 1, but it was kind of like a whole thing where we had to park hop to the other park because we had a friend with us that paid for a park hopper and was not an annual pass holder. And then we had to go back at the end of the day to ride it. And it was just kind of a whole thing. But I did get to go on Cosmic Rewind Holiday, which also had its own controversies around it, and I have thoughts on that if we're ready to move to the next topic.
I have one more thing about the virtual queue. I do know, like with DAS, you're able to go later, but I've missed a couple times and they've let me go later. So I think that's like a standard thing. Like maybe that like if you had a boarding group, you obviously had one, and it'll still scan. So like they should let you. And then one time, maybe this cast member was having a really nice day, but we accidentally did it for the wrong amount of people. Like we forgot to click one person. And so we were like, hey, so 95% of us have one. So could like maybe, and they let her go. So maybe that's just like an crazy out of the blue, having a really good day experience. Listeners, I wouldn't like expect that to happen. It might, you never know, but I don't know. I just think there's a lot of miscommunication with them sometimes. But I'm very interested to hear your opinions on Cosmic Rewind Holiday because I have my own opinions. So I'm excited.
Oh, okay. Well, so I saw a lot of tweets about it and people. So before, okay, let's rewind. Ha ha ha.
No!
So a couple months ago, whenever they announced that they were going to do the holiday overlay, people were getting super stoked. I know we talked about in the Oogie Boogie Bash episode the overlay of the Guardians ride in California, the Monsters After Dark. Super cool because we talked about it in that episode, but it completely changes the ride queue. The pre-show's different. There's only one song instead of 5 with that one as well. Spoiler alerts for Cosmic Rewind Holiday, but there's one song and it's a really good song over there. And I think the drop sequence is all the same as well, but the ride is completely different from how it is in the daytime. And then you're only allowed to ride it from 3 or 4 p.m. depending on the day until the end of the night. So with Cosmic Rewind Holiday, people were speculating about how they were going to do that, if it was going to be different during the day and at night, and if they were going to do 6 songs, and people started coming up with Christmas songs they wanted. So I do agree that I wish they did like 6 Christmas songs. People had a really good playlist, like Last Christmas by Wham would have been so good, and like there's so many good songs that people put on there. So that would have been cool. But I actually do like the original song. If you guys don't want spoilers for the ride, maybe skip a couple seconds ahead because I am going to talk a little bit about the ride itself. But it's like I don't know if it's called this, but it's like Run, Run, Rocket. So it's like Run, Run, Rudolph, but it's about Rocket. I didn't hear the lyrics super well or anything, but I thought it was super cute. I liked the song. People were complaining that it was a cover, but I thought the cover sounded really good. So I have no complaints about the music. Although I wish that there were multiple songs, but I was thinking about it and I was like, well, like most people are only going to go once or twice during the holiday season anyway. So I don't think it's a big deal that they have just one song. My biggest problem with it is that there is no overlay other than just the music. They didn't change the pre-show at all. They didn't, I think even like colored lights or some kind of like visual effects would have been cool. Christmas trees or Christmas lights in the queue. I mean, I understand they maybe don't want to spend a ton of money on completely redoing it like they do in California, but and I understand why they have it all day. Like that's fine with me too. But I just don't understand how they don't have any changes to the queue or like the pre-show or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have many thoughts on it just because I haven't gone on it yet. I haven't really looked into it too deeply. It's a good idea, but definitely like the outcry is pretty rough on it. And of course, like the solutions we come up with, they seem pretty simple. Like have licensed songs, have like actual songs, put in the overlay. I definitely agree. Like if you're going to do an overlay, not just like a little feature over in the corner here on the ride. Like I don't know, put Terry Crews in Santa hat. I don't know. But of course that probably involves like refilming and getting all these A-list actors together again. I mean, they couldn't even get Bradley Cooper to voice Rocket Raccoon on the actual ride. So I mean, a Christmas hat might be too much, or Santa hat or an elf hat. But I think it feels stranger from the outside looking in, because we just had the holiday special for the Guardians come out, and there's not as much effort put into the, I don't want to say too much effort because that might not be fair, but there's not as much of the Christmas wealth spread around over on the ride portion. When, I don't know, we're already digging deep into the holiday special. Let's put this holiday ride special more. Yeah.
Bella, I know you have thoughts too, but I was just going to add in really quick to go off of Adam's. So in the Monsters After Dark in California for their overlay for Halloween, they basically, most of it is like Groot and Rocket talking, and like they're, I believe, the only two characters on the ride besides like monsters. And then the pre-show is pretty different, but it's mostly like random people. It's not a lot of like, you know, A-listers or anything. So I think they could, and then a lot of other stuff is like they take like the regular stuff and like distort it, you know, like the pre-show music, they kind of distort it and stuff. So I feel like they could have easily like played some different music in the lobby, added some Christmas lights or trees or something, and then like they could have just kept everything else the same and maybe changed some lights on the ride. Or they could have even done something where maybe one or two actors, and it doesn't even have to be any like huge actors, do like a slightly different pre-show. So I don't know, I feel like they could have at least added some more atmosphere, but it just seemed, I don't, lazy is probably not the right word, but a little bit lazy.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Because, like, I totally understand, like, the problems with refilming an entire pre-show. So, like you just said, Kelley, like the faint sounds of Christmas music in the background of the pre-show. Because there's music that plays underneath it. So, could have done that. But, like, they could have done, like, backing with, like, Christmas music. They could have, you know, added lights, because like, I mean, Space Mountain's Halloween overlay is just the dark. So like, there's a lot of lights in there. There's a lot of twinkling lights. They could have done that. But I'm fine with the song. I heard it in Tim Tracker's video. There's the Tim Tracker mention.
Every time.
Don't hang your head in shame. You expect.
Oh no, I'm not
less
hanging my head in
from
shame. I'm
me.
hanging my head in laughter. I'm shaking.
Good. But he wrote it and he filmed it, and I think it's cute. But what I would have given to listen to Last Christmas by Wham, or Christmas Wrapping, or anything from the 80s, like literally anything, like I don't even care.
If they had Last Christmas by Wham and it was like one of 6 options or whatever, presuming that they eventually get rid of the virtual queue and they do it next year, I would ride it over and over again. I don't care how long the wait is. I'm getting that song.
Like, even if that was just like the one standard song, I don't care. Make that into a Guardians remix. Like, hello? Does Run Run Rudolph have any stands? I don't think so. So
Rudolph likes it.
Okay, well, he has plenty of songs, so I think he could maybe get over it just this once. But like, I don't know. I haven't been on Guardians in like a hot second, just because like I never really go to Epcot currently. Like I do go to Epcot, I just haven't been in a while, and it's kind of difficult getting a virtual queue because sometimes I don't want to wake up at 6:55 to get one, you know. I don't know. I was expecting more, but also Walt Disney World is kind of in its flop era, so I don't really know what I really shouldn't be surprised at the, I'm going to say, laziness of it. I'm going to be brave, use fighting words. Yeah, exactly, Adam. Little Z formation. I think it's lazy and sloppy, and they could have done something. Mic drop.
Since we're talking about flop era, I'm going to bring up something that's not on the agenda really quick. Did y'all see that we finally got a month for Tron? April. It's supposed to open in April. We did.
When?
I don't know.
Was that like a middle of the night tweet, or was it a TikTok, or
they slipped it in when they announced Bob Iger's back?
Hang on.
To celebrate, we're opening in April, guys, and we're calling it.
Walt Disney World News today says they're planning to open in early April, previews beginning in March of 2023, like pass holder, cast member previews and everything.
Imagine if I can do my pass holder preview on my birthday.
I was just thinking that on my birthday.
Oh wait, March birthdays.
Birthdays. crazy.
January, yeah.
That's okay. January's
I was
birthday
supposed to be a
sway.
March birthday, but I decided to come out earlier. So how
Period.
about that?
Period.
Yeah, we get crappy horror movies, so I win.
There you go. I can't remember if we talked about this last time about Tron. I can't remember if we've talked about Tron. It's been in the works for a billion ages, so I don't know. But I saw the other day that they were running tests for it like every 30 seconds or something, which is cool to see from the People Mover especially. So I saw a test run of it and it looked pretty cool. But I saw it during the day, so I didn't see it with like the lights on or anything. But I'm curious if it's actually going to open. And I also think it's interesting that like kids that were born when they announced Tron like could be tall enough to ride it by this point is something that I saw, which is so funny to me.
What's even sadder is that Disney has had time to put together a movie to tie in with the ride, and the amount of time it's taken to build the American version of the ride that's been open in Shanghai for years. And the best we got is Jared Leto making an announcement that he likes Tron, which might be worse than no Tron.
They could have probably made a sequel as well.
Right.
It's Morbin time.
It's Morbin time, exactly. You get it. I'm kind of scared of Tron, not gonna lie. So I need to the movie and the ride.
I thought you were gonna say you're scared of Jared Leto because
I am too.
Who's not?
Who's not? Yeah, exactly. Who's not afraid of him? But the first time I watched the movie, I was in like a flu fever induced high, so I don't really remember it, but it seemed scary. But I don't know, the ride just like it seems I don't know if I like the idea of like kind of like leaning. No, I feel like no, because I mean it's like Flight of Passage, but you're like tilted, so I'm kind of scared of it. Not as scared as I am about SeaWorld's new ride coaster system, but we'll get to that later. Kind of scared of that, really scared of that actually. I don't know, so maybe I'll work up the courage to ride it whenever it opens in the next 20 years, but we'll see.
Wait, does it tilt? The Tron one? I guess
You're
I've never
like
watched the video of it.
like forward.
Okay, so it's not like Hagrid's.
No.
Oh,
it's like you're in like a bike position but like forward.
It's like the
okay.
Pony Express. I believe it's in Dollywood. I want to say Dollywood. I've not been to Dollywood, so I can't say for sure. But there's a ride called the Pony Express that is like Tron.
Okay,
or Tron is like.
I'm looking at a picture of it now from the one. Okay, the one that already exists. Which is that in? Is it Shanghai?
Shanghai.
Tron, yeah.
Okay, it was
its version of Space Mountain, which makes it funny that it's going to be right next to Space Mountain.
That is funny. Okay, it doesn't look comfortable. See, I never looked up a video of it. I mean, I've seen quick clips of it on Twitter, but I never looked up a full video because eventually I'll get to ride it and I didn't want to spoil it for myself. But it doesn't look very comfortable. I was thinking Hagrid seats, which are great. This is weird.
Yeah. I'm excited to ride it. I don't know if it'll be comfortable. I know Flight of Passage is a pretty good ride, but like I get very nervous when I'm on it because of heights. Like I'm shaking that entire ride because I know I'm like 40 feet up in the air on a bike. Probably more than 40. I don't know how big that screen is, but it's big. So who knows how I'll feel when I'm on a roller coaster like that. But I've been looking forward to riding it ever since that, the videos started coming out from Shanghai. Same with the Pirates ride in Shanghai. We're not getting that one, but we are getting Tron. And I'm never going to Shanghai probably. So it'll be a great opportunity. Even if it's just the one-time thing.
I do know, because I know we've said the word lazy once or twice this episode. I know a lot of people are kind of upset that it's taking so long to build because it already exists in another park, which I do understand. I know they've said the same thing about Ratatouille. I'm still excited about it because I've never been on it. If I go to Shanghai, which I'd like to go to all the Disneys as one dreams, but I don't know when and if I'll be able to do that. So I'm still excited about it. And I'm gonna be excited about it when it comes out, but I was probably more excited for it 6 years ago or whenever they first announced it. So we'll see how it goes. I'm interested to see what the crowds are like because it's still gonna be crazy. Oh, and I guess this will be the first virtual queue at Magic Kingdom, probably.
Yeah, because I guess the last big new thing was a new Fantasyland and Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
There's
And it makes sense.
no way that's the last new thing in Magic Kingdom.
Does Jingle Cruise count?
I was gonna say, unless you count
Does the Phil Hart Coco scene count?
Oh yeah. I was gonna
Muppets
say
laugh.
Joe Biden and the presidents, the Hall of Presidents.
Is that kind of a sorry state of affairs that the most new and exciting thing to be at the Magic Kingdom is Joe Biden?
In Hall of President.
Woo!
I don't even
Come
know.
on, kids, there's something new.
We gotta go. We gotta go see Joe. It's like it's like the John Mulaney thing. When they're talking about Bill Clinton in Comeback Kid, we gotta go. We gotta go see Bill. Oh my God, John Mulaney, shout out, love you. I hope he listens to Theme Park Workshop. Actually,
If he does, that'd be great.
That'd be cool. John, please promote us.
John Edmund Mulaney, please. I'm summoning you.
Summoning.
Well, Cosmic Rewind's not the only new thing at the parks. There's a bleh. How about that for a segue? I can't even get it out.
Nice.
It's a Tuesday. All right, let's try that again. Cosmic Rewind Holiday is not the only new refresh happening at Disney World. Fantasmic's back, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hella just screamed and we heard none of it.
Fantastic. Anyway, you keep going with the segue. I'll mute myself.
Bella's too hype over here for Fantasmic. I think I'm the only one here who hasn't seen the new scenes in person, but I'm going to this upcoming weekend from when we're recording, so I'll probably have already seen it when this comes out. But
what day?
Friday? Wait, yeah, Friday. Are you going Friday?
I am going on Friday.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going. Adam.
It's a Pod Squad meetup.
Hey, I mean, I was thinking of going to real disclosure here. I'm not going to put this in the show probably, but I was thinking about going to Disney during my vacation, which starts on Friday. But that depends on if I'm moving into the condo that I applied for. So there's a lot of.
Well, condo comes first.
That's true.
But...
Yes, for sure. But Pod Squad Disney meetup.
I mean, I'd be down if it works out, if it shakes out.
Oh, period slay.
But anyway, yes, but I'm gonna see it this weekend and I'm so excited. But I have seen quick clips because I didn't want to spoil the whole thing for myself. Which we can totally talk about it. I just didn't want to watch the whole like videos of it before I see it in person. But what I saw on TikTok of the Moana and Elsa sections, I was sobbing. It's so beautiful. I love it so much.
Fantasmic has always been my number one favorite thing. And I was really nervous for it to come back because I knew they were probably going to overhaul it completely. And unpopular opinion, I don't really like Disneyland's version. I don't like the Ursula thing, and I don't like I don't like their mountain. I think theirs is, I'm not going to say lame. I think the mountain is lame. Their dragon is nice, but I like our little rinky dinky little like forklift one, but it's fine. But I was really nervous for it to come back because I figured it was going to change. And then I went to cast preview and it was like, oh my God, it felt like a Marvel movie opening. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but it literally felt like a Marvel premiere with like the crowd and the energy, and everyone was crying. I was crying. My friends were crying. Everyone was crying. But then I went opening night and it literally, well, I'm sure everyone saw the pictures of the crowds. It was terrifying. But it was worth it because we were right in the front and I somehow managed to do both shows every time.
I was just going to say really quick about the crowds. So surprisingly, I went this Sunday 2 days ago, which was the Sunday after Thanksgiving. I thought it was going to be nuts because blockout dates had just opened back up. And it actually wasn't that bad. I mean, the lines were not terrible as far as like Christmas time lines and crowds and things like that. But we saw a bunch of people lined up for Fantasmic, and we were like, oh, what time does it start? They were in line 2 hours early, and it was so many people. So I am not mentally prepared for that this weekend, but
Well,
crowds are still hype.
they've always opened the queue 2 hours early, and you sit about an hour and a half early, which is what I've always done because I'm crazy. But we were there pretty early. We got in pretty early, and it is far, like I said earlier, Disney's in its flop era. You should not have any big expectations. But this, they might have redeemed themselves with that. Because, like, well, first, the Mulan sequence with Make a Man Out of You, but they don't actually say Make a Man, which is fun. Like, the fight choreography, how it's in sync with the water screens. Like, oh my God. And then Moana, she gets in the water, that effect that like was shelved that they never used. Oh my God, when that happened for the first time, like I literally thought people were about to start like levitating. Like it was crazy in that stadium. It was crazy. And then Elsa, oh my God, there's really no words to describe it. You just have to see it. It like videos don't even do it justice. Pictures don't even do it justice. It is the most like surreal thing. And like the new lasers are incredible. And like the water projections they do, it looks like she's like doing like, oh my God. I feel very strongly about it. And then just like the new lighting effects, the new lasers, it looks so much better. And it's just like, it's so good like to be able to hear it in the park again and just like walk out on Sunset Boulevard at night with the lights and the Christmas music. It's like my favorite thing.
Oh, and the Snope on Main Street.
Yes.
Or Hollywood Boulevard, I mean.
So excited to see that on Friday because Christmas time at Studios is my favorite time of the year.
It's so pretty. Everything
it's
looks
the best.
So pretty.
They have the best Christmas decorations, and I will stand by that forever. 100%. And ever. I love it. Vintage.
And they have Santa driving around. It's so
in
nice.
A little Camaro. What else could you want?
Camaro
it's so good. Exactly. But I don't know. It's just I feel very strongly about Fantasmic. I could literally talk about it for hours and hours, but I will not do that because we don't have hours and hours. But it's very good. I love it a lot. And I'll be there on Friday, and I'm so excited.
So I was there for the cast review. I'm no cast, but I know cast, and cast said, "Hey, you want to come?" And I said, "I'd love to come." Unfortunately, it was the second cast preview, which, if you know anything about cast, that second cast preview, a little that was also media night. But most importantly, it was the day they canceled the show halfway through because of an incoming thunderstorm, and about maybe 10 minutes after the show was stopped. And they were they were exiting everyone out of the park. It was a torrential deluge like I've not seen in some time. No umbrella, should have come prepared, but soaked head to toe, clothed to bone. It was rough. But we did get to see the first half, like up until the villains portion of the program. I think that's half. I've actually never seen Fantasmic. It was my first introduction to Fantasmic, and apparently it was not really the best way one should be introduced to Fantasmic. But nevertheless, here I am, having only seen half of Fantasmic in person, because I don't want to go and watch the video. I just want to have like my first impression of Fantasmic, a show I've been looking forward to seeing for a long time. I just never got around to it for whatever reason. I don't want it to be affected by like my memory of a video. I'd rather see it in person. But what I saw, I was really enjoying, and I hope to see the end of it someday. And I, like there are things I was not used to, like I wasn't expecting, I guess is what I should say. Like I didn't realize there's gonna be so many projection screens, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just don't know my full impression of it yet because I didn't see the whole show. I thought it was going to be a lot more with like Mickey and the villains and heroes and what that on the stage in the mountain and all that. But that was fun. Yeah, Bella.
You should be so glad that you saw this version of the water projections, because they used to be so awful. and you would get absolutely soaked by them.
Really?
They
Oh,
would
wow.
spray like, I mean, obviously it's probably due to wind, but
Yeah.
they like, I feel like you don't get as wet this time, which I like. But the old ones looked so bad you couldn't even tell what was going on. So be glad that you saw the newer ones.
Yeah, I mean, I can say that the projections were pretty clear, and I thought that they had. I was telling the friends I was seeing it with, like, water screens. I'm kind of two minds on. Sometimes when it works, it really works. When it doesn't work, it just looks like a faded screen. And why are we doing it this way? Like Poseidon's Fury over at Universal, love it. Don't love the water screens because they look faded. It's hard to tell like what's going on. It looks like the film is old, but it's not the film that's old. I mean, I think it is. That's part of it. But the water projection, the water screen doesn't quite work for it, and the effect that they want to have with it being otherworldly, it just looks faded. With Fantasmic, I felt like it was kind of helping that quality of it being a dream, where, you know, it was obviously you can't like make an avant-garde film in a live show where things are kind of bleeding into one another in a kind of cacophony of colors and sound. But I think this is probably a decent, you know, second or third place. I thought it was helping that effect. Whether that's the effect they're going for or not, I don't know. Haven't seen the whole show. But I did have a pretty standout moment, and it's the one that everyone's talking about. It's the new stuff, was that section where it was Aladdin followed by Mulan, followed by Moana, followed by Frozen 2. I say Frozen 2 because that's my favorite Frozen. It's one of my favorite Disney movies. That film just reaches me in a certain way. And when I was watching it, like we were in front of a gay couple, and I think and they were really like into the show. This was really like their moment, like experiencing the show together, and you could really feel that. And I thought that was great. And what was great about those songs is they're songs about like self-actualization more so than dreams. But sometimes, like, I don't know, like self-actualization, why is that not like the easiest dream to achieve? And in light of, yeah, we're going to get political here with, you know, Chapek and Don't Say Gay and all of that. Like, there are these factors that are keeping people from that self-actualization. And here I was watching these songs about self-actualization with Show Yourself. Like, how is that not like, you know, such a great self-actualization anthem? And you have Moana singing, I am Moana. This is who I am. You know, I'm the daughter of the village chief. I'm the descendant of warriors. You have Aladdin, you know, you have One Jump Ahead, and it's fun. I think people were saying like that's the replacement for the John Smith sequence. Probably a good thing. Like, that's what it is. But he ends it with, you know, the reprise of One Jump Ahead, which is, they'll find out there's so much more to me. And that's already, those are powerful songs. But I mean, in that moment, seeing this crowd of cast members who are so diverse and seeing this powerful moment of the show, not fair how that was back to back to back, I tell you. It just, and with the context of Florida right now, like, it was a really powerful statement. It felt like, I don't know, I doubt that's what they were going for, but I think that's just the power of stories, as you can see yourself, you can see your friends, you can see your family in them, and just really be freaking moved by it. And that's what that was. Unfortunately, you know, the evil queen, she tried to take over, and then the show weather said, no, that's not going to happen. And neither's the rest of the show. So that was a bummer. I don't see how it, you know, will conclude, but I do look forward to that. But even just that moment and just those songs back to back, I got emotional. And I think I'm getting emotional right now talking about it.
Aw, you made me get emotional. I'm tearing up over here.
It
That
is
was so nice.
It is literally like the most like powerful thing ever. And I have a couple friends that are in it, and like all during rehearsals, that's like all he would say. He's like, it's just so powerful. Like, I cry every time watching it. Like, it's just like the use of Proud of Your Boy in Aladdin just like sends me into orbit with tears, because
I love
it's
that
just
song.
it's just and like what really got me was, like you were saying, like the diversity of everyone in the crowd, but also the diversity of the show now. Like, especially when they showed Encanto in the water projections, the noise from the crowd, oh my gosh, it was just like, it's such a good moment. It's such a good like back to back like punch to the heart and the emotions. And then it goes into the princesses and then the villains with my favorite terrible transition audio with all the villains, and I really hope you get to experience soon, Adam, because it's my favorite thing. And then the steamboat, which is just always emotional, and like it's just good. It's good show. It's good. It's great. No notes.
I'm so excited to see it on Friday. We're going with my husband's family, and they're just gonna see me sobbing the whole time. So I hope they're ready for that, because I was about to start sobbing over here just listening to you guys talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be my favorite nighttime show. I want it to be, honestly. Like Happily Ever After was great. I wasn't expecting anything out of that, and I was moved by that when I saw it then. And I like a good nighttime show. I think just being in its own like little corner on the amphitheater, like it kind of helps set it apart in that way, more so than the Castle show does or the Lagoon show. They all can have powerful moments, but I do like that it's its own story with live action and water. And is there fire? I think there's fire. I don't know if I saw fire, but there's definitely fire and lasers, and I'm looking forward to see the ending. I'll just say that again.
With the best pre-show loop in the history of the world.
It stayed.
Disney Mania. Oh, the second waiting in line that opening night. And even on cast preview, when it started with ever after, I just like, oh my god, it's just so good.
Wow, I can't wait. I was gonna say, speaking of things I can't wait for as a transition, but I'm not sure how I feel about this. We're talking about the Pipeline Surf Coaster at SeaWorld. I am scared.
I don't know if I'm scared, but I'm definitely intrigued. Well, I'm scared for parts of myself, just maybe not in the way I'd be scared for like Mako or something like that, because it looks like it's a surf coaster is what they're calling it, the first surf coaster. It's what does it say, 110 feet? Yeah, 110 feet up in the air, stand up. The seats go up and down, which that's terrifying. Not necessarily because it's going up and down, but just we know what the legacy stand-up coasters have.
Yeah.
Especially, yeah. God bless those with balls.
True.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Did not think of that.
Oh yeah, that's why every man that you may know, if you say, hey, what do you think about going to the stand-up coaster, they'll shiver before saying yes. Because if you're not on there right enough,
oh yeah,
it's just like riding a bike.
Cross yourself, prepare. But yeah, 110 feet up, 60 miles an hour, 2,900 feet of track. It's supposed to feel like you're surfing, you're on the waves. That curve next to the that's on the edge of it looks fun. It just looks like a fun roller coaster move. Oh, and they're tying it in on the website with different surf lingo, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. It looks great.
It looks fun. I think it's like, I like that it's so unique, and one of the things I like about SeaWorld is the like ocean theming. So I think it's cool that they're doing that in kind of a different way, because I know usually they focus on like the sea creatures, which is cool, but this is an interesting way to still incorporate like ocean theme and be like a little bit different. So I think it's cool, but I don't know. It's funny because like anytime you're waiting in like a long line, you get to the ride and you're like, oh, I get to sit down. Isn't this nice? It's like not going to have that weird relief of like, I'm sitting down. I'm so excited. It's going to be like, oh, I'm standing and I'm kind of uneasy.
I am terrified of roller coasters. Ever since I rode Shamu's ride, which is now Grover's Boxcar Derby at Sesame Street Land at SeaWorld, which is kind of funny because Sesame Street, it's funny. That's where my favorite roller coaster started. I have not been able to get on many roller coasters because I hate them. And I will never ride a SeaWorld roller coaster, ever. Maybe. I got to work myself up to it. Maybe I'll do Icebreaker. Maybe.
Manta's great. Manta's one of the best.
That's the one where you lay down?
More like face down.
Yeah, no, never, no.
There's a net to catch you.
No,
okay.
No.
Mako is actually great. It doesn't.
I would ride Mako, but it's really tall.
It's so tall, and that the first drop is like super intense, and like
it doesn't look bad. The rest of it.
No, the rest of it's fine. That drop, I die inside.
Yeah,
but I live for the rest of it. I live so greatly for the rest of it.
Oh, the drop's my favorite part, but Mako's great. That's my
you're
favorite.
Sick in the head for that, Kelley. You're crazy.
Fair enough.
I've never heard anyone say that about Mako. Ever.
Oh my gosh, it's the best part. I wish the whole place was like, or the whole ride was like that.
No. But I appreciate that SeaWorld likes to be a little adventurous. And I think it looks really cool. Gonna shout out my favorite person in the world, Tim Tracker. In his IAPA video, he was showing the ride vehicle. They had one. And I guess like they have it to where it feels like the wax on a surfboard when you wax it to get a better grip. They have like something like that on it. Which like kind of makes you feel a little bit better. But just like the idea of standing up on a roller coaster as you're going 100 and whatever feet into the air at 60 miles an hour with just like, yeah, like the harness is there, but that's also moving. So like,
true.
It's just like, no.
I wonder what the height limit's going to be. Like, what about people who have short little legs? Like, what if your legs don't reach the ground?
So on the website, it does say it's 54-inch height requirement, which 54. I believe is pretty standard for like the Georgia Scorcher over in Six Flags, Georgia, and Vortex over in Carowinds, which are the two stand-ups I've ridden. Scorcher's great. Vortex is fine. This one seems like in a class of its own.
But like, I feel like not everyone's legs are going to be the same height. I mean, 54 inches, I guess, is pretty tall, but like
the seat does adjust. It's not a hard seat. It's not like a bicycle seat it's not like a normal roller coaster where the seats don't shift at all.
Oh, the seat, I'm looking at it right now. The seat goes down to where you are. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you got to straddle it. Interesting. Yeah, it's not just the chest restraint that's keeping you down. Like there's still a seat, but
it like
the
moves.
idea is that it'll adjust for your height as long as it's 54 inches. But this one, it's different because it's going to go up and down a little bit. So who knows what that's going to feel like? That's the thing. There's so much mystery around, like, because it's the first of its kind. At least that's what they're calling it. It's the first of its kind surf coaster. I can't think of a roller coaster that has that apparatus, which makes it very intriguing from like a coaster junkie standpoint. But also, you're like, what's that going to feel like in all the ways?
Yeah, I'm very intrigued. Kevin and I always laugh. I don't remember if I've said this on the show yet, but we always laugh when there's like a sign and it's like the tallest, fastest, inverted. I'm sure we've talked about this before, but like they always have all these things on it. But this one is actually pretty unique.
Mm-hmm. I have a little bit of bad blood with this coaster already because it has taken the space of an entire walkway at SeaWorld, a little segue. But like that little walkway is where they had all of their Christmas stuff, like all of like the elves and like the little games and like all the hot cocoa and like a bunch of stuff is over there. And that's where all they did Spectacular a lot. And then I think last year is when they officially started construction on it. And like you can't even walk back there. That was the best way to get out of the park. Like on EO nights, on Electric Ocean nights, or during Christmas, you could take that and like you'd be at the front of the park in like 5 minutes. It was great. So I'm a little upset that they've taken my little walkway away from me, because whenever I go to SeaWorld, I only go to Sesame Street Land or to the other side of Nautilus when the Sesame show is over there, or any of the other shows. So I've never really in any of the other parts of the park, so it's kind of convenient. But I don't know, it's a great use of the space, but I miss my little shortcut because it was never busy.
As someone who never took that walkway and had no reason to go over there, mostly didn't know that existed. I'm thinking to myself, oh, I'm glad they're using that space that's not just an amphitheater that feels barely used, like maybe just seasonally used. Am I thinking it's in the right? Is it that same area?
Yeah, it's by Bayside. It's where they do like Electric Ocean and where they have the ice skating show during the summer. That's where they do fireworks and stuff.
Okay. So I'm thinking to myself as a casual SeaWorld goer who doesn't know these tips and tricks of getting around quickly and just takes the terrible, terrible walk around the park. I'm thinking, oh, I'm glad that they're actually utilizing that space. But you make a great point, Bella, that you do kind of lose something there.
It just doesn't feel the same with all the Christmas stuff spread out. and like all the, well, I haven't gone during Christmas yet, but like it was so cute. Like it was this little path, and like there's all these little like treat booths, and they have the best hot cocoa, like all these different flavors. It's so good. So like there's all that. There's like there's singers, like little stages. There's like a bonfire, like really good vibes, really good decorations. That's where you could have met Rudolph, Bumble, and Clarice, and Yukon. He's there too. Now they're over by where Wild Arctic was, RIP. And like it's cute, but like it's just not the same. But obviously it's a really great use of space, really awesome technology that they're using. So I'm interested to see what it's gonna be like, and who knows, maybe I'll ride it. Probably not, but you never say never.
Got to do the Velocicoaster first.
No. Absolutely not.
Speaking of great coasters, have y'all ever been on the Woody Woodpecker roller coaster?
Absolutely not.
Now's your chance.
It's nuts.
I actually loved that ride as a kid.
Same.
Great. My dad does a great impression of the Woody Woodpecker from that ride. But anyway, so that was my terrible transition at talking about KidZone, which is going away in January 2023 to make way to new immersive adventures of beloved animated characters. And that is about all we know.
And they announced it in the dead. It's kind of like the Iger Chapek situation. This just seemed more low key because we expected this for so long. Yeah, just random Thursday night, 7:00, said, "Hey, by the way, this land is going bye-bye forever."
Literally was sitting at the fan preview when they posted it.
Which I understand why it's going away. And they've been talking about this for a while. Like, I know that it was originally rumored to be like a Super Nintendo area, and then Epic Universe happened. So obviously they're not going to do that, which I'm glad that they're going to do it at Epic Universe, because I think they're going to give it more of the space it deserves. Like, that kind of area deserves a lot of space, and that KidZone is not that. So it's interesting because it's not like a huge area over there. What are everyone's thoughts on what it's going to be? Because I got thoughts.
To me, it makes sense to be DreamWorks. Shrek's already back there. Trolls is already back there. They kind of, put a stake in there. Because what's going away for sure? Fievel's gone. Woody's gone. E.T.'s staying. Animal actors are staying. But if it becomes DreamWorks land, you can just kind of make that part of Hollywood, which only has Bourne and horror makeup and Streetmosphere and stuff. But yeah, I'm thinking DreamWorks. Some people are thinking Illumination. Maybe they're going to put the Secret Life of Pets in there. If this is a quick turnaround, nah. And you have DreamWorks. They really don't have any representation. They're stuck over in the Lost Continent for King Julian and Puss in Boots meet and greet. What are they doing in Lost Continent? Bring them home. Bring them home to, well, it's not home yet, but I'm sure it will be. I know nothing, but that's my speculation. And I saw the Puss in Boots movie, and it seems like Universal is really going to push into these characters more. Like, they refreshed the whole DreamWorks opening logo thing, which I think it's cute.
I think it's cute as well. I don't know why people were so upset. And it's also like only 20 seconds. People are like, it's so long. No, it's 20 seconds. Relax. But I also think it's going to be DreamWorks, because I saw people throwing around Secret Life of Pets, which I don't think they would put a big attraction in the very back corner of the park, but that's just me. And I saw people throwing around Pokemon, but like you said, if they're trying to have a quicker turnaround on it, which I think they might, I think it would only make sense to be DreamWorks, because they have the DreamWorks dance party thing, and like it just opened, and they're already shutting that area down. So I think it would make sense. It would still keep it as like a kids zone area, especially because they're keeping ET open, they're keeping animal actors, and they're keeping the SpongeBob store, which is like a sleigh, because I love SpongeBob and I love going inside the little pineapple dance party thing. I don't know. What I'm really concerned about though is how it's going to affect Horror Nights, because like it's going down at the beginning of the year, so like they have 8 months to do something, but like that's where the biggest houses go. They go back there. That's where a lot of the line is for like 4 different houses. So like pros take away the long walk, that to and from those houses, but cons taking away really good spots for really big soundstage houses.
Plot twist, they're just going to use both parks and it's going to be a double park event. Would be cool.
Because like,
No,
where are they
but-
going to put them?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the question, right? Because they're like, oh, we're starting construction in January. I'm like, yeah, but how quickly are you going to be able to get this done before Horror Nights? So, and you know, I was just thinking KidZone is so small, but I forgot about the play area. Like that thing is huge with all the Curious George stuff. I didn't even think about that. So, I'm not sad about them getting rid of KidZone. I mean, there's a little bit of nostalgia, but I never went back there anymore. So, I don't know. I'm just curious. I do think it's probably going to be something DreamWorks, but I don't really have any kind of speculation. I mean, I hope they do some kind of show because they have the stage back there. I doubt they're keeping a water slide. Maybe they'll turn it into like a playground. I did not even know there's a water slide back there until I saw a TikTok about it the other day.
And they've got the Curious George ball factory where you can shoot like plastic balls at fellow kids, or you as an adult can annihilate young kids.
Where am I going to see Curious George with a pole up his booty during Horror Nights? That's my favorite part. I look forward to it because it's so weird. It's gonna be gone. They should immortalize that, or if like the prop store was still open, they should have put it in there, and I would have bought it. I wouldn't have actually bought it, but I know I miss it. I wouldn't have actually bought it if it existed still and went in there. But like they need to bring it back somehow because so many people talk about it. That's like the first thing I saw on Twitter when they announced that they were taking away KidZone was about the Curious George. So they have to bring it back.
Universal Creative, I know you're listening. Just keep the same concept, but make it like King Julian or something. Bam, yes. There you go.
Yes.
Do an homage.
Yes.
I never thought about that, but that would actually be perfect.
Please hire me.
Can we get Mort into Universal? Can we get Mort?
Mort! I was thinking King Julian or yes, Mort. Oh my god, that would be great. That would be great.
What do you think is going to happen to the Nut House coaster? Because I feel like you still need like a kiddie ride there. I think DreamWorks Destination will become more permanent, or it'll change to be a more permanent DreamWorks show if it's not the same thing. You'll have the Shrek meet and greet. You know, why not keep King Julian as the thing? But Nut House coaster, do you think they're just going to do like I don't know, a Shrek overlay or a night Bad Guys? Bad Guys had some car chases. Great movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it.
I have no.
And they're kind of pushing that as a big IP. It's in the opening logo now. Do you think they're going to like do an overlay? Or do you think they're going to build a new one or port one from the like one of the Asian parks?
I think it should be a Shrek roller coaster through the swamp. I would sell my soul for a Shrek ride. They have one. It's at some theme park in Abu Dhabi, not Warner Brothers World, but it's another one. They have like a Shrek ride where it's like Duloc and they're all puppets and it's really cool. But like imagine you're on a roller coaster and it's Shrek themed and All-Star like Smash Mouth, that just like playing on full blast as you're on a ride. I want that to happen. I think it'd be funny. Or like Trolls. I'd be fine with Trolls.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I love that movie. I cried the first time I watched it. I love it.
Yeah, I feel like it depends how quickly. If they're trying to get this done before Horror Nights, they'll probably just keep the same track, I would assume, and just kind of change the theming. And it probably wouldn't be any kind of crazy theming. It'd be like painting and maybe some like music and stuff like that. Shrek would be amazing. I would love that so much. I don't know though. I'm very intrigued. And then I'm like, that whole like Fiebles area, like are they going to turn that into like a playground instead of like a water playground, or is it just going to be like decorative? Are they going to add another meet and greet or something like that? Like maybe they'll do a couple of meet and greets over there. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see like what they put there and how that changes like the foot traffic of the park, because it is all the way in the back and everything. Like, is it going to stay as kind of a kids area, or I don't know.
Yeah. As far as Horror Nights go, because I want to get my 2 cents in on it. So they have those two parade warehouses in the back. Like there's the second one where the weekend was, that has its like own canopy and all that. But then you've got the monster, I call it the monsters one because that was what was just in there. But also had like Beetlejuice. Like there's the first one, the original one that's smaller. That one is like butting up right next to Curious George. Like it's right behind it. But I mean, it wouldn't be the first year they ever changed it up. They can always use more sound stages. They have the Fast and Furious location. You're going to have the Shrek 4D location or the Minion Ride location that's going to have real estate for a Horror Nights house, is what I've heard anyway, like in rumors. I think Alicia Stella. Shout out Alicia Stella. So like they could still do the 10 houses and not use both of them. But I also, they had you walk a half mile to Bugs for that 110 house, so they could just put in a new entrance. They could put MIB tent back. There's a number of things that they could do to still have the tent houses, but I also don't think it's out of the question for them to just reroute the queue to not go through KidZone, even though KidZone is the most convenient place. They don't necessarily need it, but God bless whoever walks.
2 things. Oh yeah, one, I think the only, like, talking about like rerouting it so it doesn't go through KidZone, I feel like most people, I mean, I saw a lot of people complaining about the walk to Bugs. Most of it was joking, but like it wasn't fun. But also, if they still wanted to use that area, they would have to put like really big ticket houses back there to like kind of justify it, like put Stranger Things back there and the really big one to keep it away from the front of the park. So that frees up that really tiny, narrow little walking space into New York, or like do some, I don't know. But also, this is really, I mean, it's not off topic, but it's related to Shrek, because we were talking about Shrek. I was at Universal yesterday, and they were making a little shape on the entrance of the Shrek building. There was like a little shape that was not there before. It was like a little rectangle and then a big rectangle, and they were painting it or they were putting stuff on it. So that was a thing that I saw.
Construction update.
You mean the old Shrek, like where across from Despicable Me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah. It kind of looked like a house, but I don't think it is a house, but it kind of looks like one. I was like, that looks new. So I took a mental note for today.
I want to know what that is. I know it's like Minions, but we don't know what the attraction is or anything, right?
Yeah, nothing confirmed. Yeah.
I honestly think it's going to be Villain Con or whatever it is.
Well, when they were putting up the structure during Horror Nights, it was literally V-shaped. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. They've given it away, and then they covered it. I'm like, oh no, I was just saying physics, not a tease.
Also, speaking of construction in that area, the monster spinny thing is gone, and they also took away the best freestyle cup refill station.
Boo!
I know. I didn't even like realize it until I walked by yesterday, and I was like, something tall is not in my peripheral vision. Like, it's not there. So that's kind of upsetting, kind of sad. Really hope construction over there is done by Horror Nights, because that walkway was so bad with the wall. It was awful. And with the carnival games like on the other side, it's a mess. It's a mess. But I don't know.
Yeah. I do think though that whatever they end up doing, I think it's for the best of the park. KidZone, it was just a matter of time. Like, I know it was like, no one knows Woodpecker, no one knows Curious George. There's still characters that you can get your kids into. Like, people watch E.T. just so the kids can watch and understand and enjoy E.T. adventure even more, which I don't think I said this. I'm so glad it's staying. I'm so glad that they're like still putting work into it. It's dated, but God, I love it. And I enjoy the new pine scent and the burning of Rome that happens on the green planet. Like, it's great. I'm so glad love's being put into that. But yeah, whatever new, what's the quote? The quote was adventures of beloved animated characters. Whatever animated characters it is, obviously kids are going to connect to that more. And it's going to be a good facelift for the park right before Epic Universe, which is going to be so new and so great and so lovely. Yeah, I'm just glad it's getting love.
I can't wait for Epic Universe. I'm so excited to have more updates on that we can talk about.
I keep like forgetting it's happening, and then I'll see like a picture of construction and I'm like, oh, and then I get really excited. Where is it in regards to Universal?
I believe it's 5 to 10 minutes away.
Yeah,
okay.
It's over by the if anyone knows where the Lockheed Martin is over there, but it's like across the. I was gonna say across the street, but that's not right. That makes it sound like it's right there, but it's close. But driving distance, or
it'll be worth the drive. It'll be
or
worth
probably
it.
The shuttle. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm curious how they're gonna do like annual passes. Like, is it gonna be 2 or 3 park or 4 park? Like, or is it 3 or 4 park? Or
they sent out a survey about a year ago, I think. No, just like several months ago. And so there were like those different tiers. It's like, would you do like a 2 p.m. and after pass? How much would you be willing to pay for that? Here's some options. If these were the only options, which ones would you choose, or would you not choose any? And so like there was the 4 park pass option for gargantuan prices. And then there was like, what if you did an 8-day pass, but it was only studios and islands? So they're definitely thinking of ways to readjust the ticket pricing in creative ways, but obviously we won't know what it actually is until it happens.
They don't have a pass option for just Universal or just Islands, correct? So I wonder if they bump it up to 3 and 4, because it's still like a Universal park, but also I wouldn't be surprised if they just sell passes to Epic Universe, honestly, because it's like, I mean, it's 5 to 10 minutes away, it's its own thing, but also I feel like that'd be weird, because then you'd have like people who already have a Universal pass would have to buy an Epic Universe. It would, so I feel like I could honestly see them bumping it up to 3, and the price of the pass would obviously go up a decent amount, which I would, for Epic Universe, I would be fine paying it. I don't care.
It's true. Disney better watch their backs when Epic Universe comes out, because let me tell you, if I have to pick one,
I'm choosing Universal.
I'm going with the one that has a Universal Monsters Lands.
Exactly.
Sorry, Iger.
Will Iger even be CEO when it opens? They'll leave that as his
probably
guy.
Probably.
Chapek number 2.
Well. Oh,
Michael
God.
Eisner comes back.
Oh man.
I saw a meme that was Bob Iger as Andrew Garfield coming out of the portal of Spider-Man No Way Home. And then the next slide was like, but wait, or it was something. And it was Michael Eisner coming out of Toby's, because he was second, and it was funny.
Well, if you want to hear more about roller coasters that are interesting, we are going to talk about a really cool one on the Patreon. We are going to talk about the Busch Gardens Williamsburg Dark Coaster. So definitely check us out over there. But that's all the news we have for you tonight. Again, my name is Kelley. You can find me on Twitter as Killer_Kells with an S. And you can find me on Instagram at Kelley D. Hoffman. And there's 2 E's in Kelley.
You can find me over on Instagram at Flynn Rider's Nose, and then on Twitter at Bella Harvey with 2 Y's.
And I have been Adam Johnson. You can find me on Twitter at AdamJ_film. Follow the show too at Workshop TP on Twitter, and Theme Park Workshop on the Instagram. Subscribe on your podcast apps, on the YouTube, and follow us on Patreon. Patreon. Get on the Patreon, just like our patrons, Jonathan Edward and Landon Kanoki. Thank you so much for your patronage. We got a lot of cool, fun stuff over there, like this bonus episode that Kelley was hinting at. So I hope you enjoy all those perks, all that fun stuff. And yeah.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Oh my God. Hello. She has a cat. I forgot your cat's name. Tuna fish.
It's Tuna Fish. She's here.
Tuna.
Say hello to the people, Tuna. That's Tuna.
I love Tuna.
Purring. I love it.
She has very important things to say.
So many important things. New guest on the podcast, actually.